Hi, this is Jeff O'Neill, and I'm here to do a demo of the Patent Bots Art Unit Predictor. And on the screen here, this is the starting page for using the Patent Bots Art Unit Predictor. And as a way to motivate the reason for the product's existence, we list the groups and the art units at the USPTO, where we've ranked them according to their grant rate. So if we look at the art unit side, we can see that the hardest art unit at the USPTO is 3689 with a grant rate of 7%. And the easiest art unit is 2827 with a grant rate of 93%. So it seems kind of crazy that the difference in grant rates between different art units can be so wide. And it really makes sense for different kinds of technology. You would expect that grant rates would be different, but this extreme difference, it doesn't really seem rational. And I think there's a perception among some patent attorneys that some art units, like the business method art units, are somewhat unfairly predisposed against allowing patents. And really the best thing you can do is avoid getting into those really hard groups and art units to begin with. And that is the goal of our Art Unit Predictor tool. So the way you use our tool is you want to select the Word document of your patent application. So I'll select one here, and then you click Predict. And we process the text of your patent application, and we predict the groups and art units that we think are going to be assigned. So on the left, you see the group predictions, and on the right, you see the art unit predictions. And it's worth noting that our group predictions and our art unit predictions are completely independent of each other. And it's possible that they don't necessarily agree with each other. And I view that as a good thing. I view it as kind of like getting a second opinion. And really the ideal thing to do is you want to avoid all the bad groups and all the bad art units from our predictions. And then you'll hopefully be in a really great position to be in a place at the patent office that you want to be. So if we look at the group prediction side, we pick the top 3 groups that we think are going to be assigned. We list the group number, description. We have a grant rate for each, and also our predicted probabilities that that group is the one that's assigned. On the art unit side, we list the top 5 art units that we think are going to be assigned. We do more here because there's many more art units than groups. There's about 500 art units in comparison to about 50 groups. So we get more interesting information if we show you a few additional art units. And basically the goal now is to look at the groups and art units that you don't like, and you want to change your patent application to try to remove the odds that they get assigned. So for example, on the group side, 3620 and 3680 both have lower grant rates. On the art unit side, 4 out of the 5 art units that we predict are all business method art units with lower grant rates that we'd like to avoid. And the way that we help you do that is down below, we list your claims. And what we do is we highlight in red the words that were important to the predictions. And we have a selector here for all the groups and art units that we predicted. And what you want to do is you want to select the groups and art units that you want to avoid, see the important words, and then you want to use those words less frequently to try to avoid those groups and art units. So for example, if I select group 3620, the word customer is in red, and it's not too shocking that the word customer would be an important word for a business method art unit. So what you might want to do is change that word to a more generic word, like a word like user instead of customer. Another word in bright red here is CSR. That is an acronym for Customer Service Representative. Again, not too shocking. That's important for a business method art unit. So you might want to change that phrase to something more generic, like the word agent instead of Customer Service Representative. So that's one thing you can do to avoid the groups and art units that you don't like, is to change words to make them be a bit more generic or a bit more abstract. Another thing that you can do, though, which is probably even more effective, is to add in very specific words that describe the technology that you think is more representative of your invention and corresponds to an art unit that you'd be happier with. So for example, here we have the word intent, And the word intent standing alone could be lots of different things. But in the context of this invention, this is a natural language intent. This invention actually relates to natural language processing, and a natural language intent is a term of art that is very specific. So what you can do is you can change the word intent throughout the claims to be the full phrase natural language intent. And that sends a really strong message to the Patent Office that this is a natural language processing invention and is not a business method invention. So what you can do is you can make those kinds of changes, and then you're going to want to go ahead and redo the predictions. So I'm going to go ahead and process a modified version of this patent application, after making those kinds of changes, and then we'll look at the new predictions. So here we are after making those changes. If we look at the group predictions, we look at the top 3 groups. Now we see that none of the top 3 groups are business method groups. If we look at the art unit side, we see that none of the top 5 art units are business method art units. So now I can be a lot more confident that I'll end up in one of these groups and art units. And because these groups and art units have much higher grant rates, it should be much easier to get a really nice outcome for my client. And one thing that's really worth mentioning is that using the Art Unit Predictor tool is definitely an iterative process. So you start off with your original set of claims. You might make a first change, like change customer to user, and then you can redo the predictions. Maybe, it's not good enough and you're going to want to, keep changing things. So basically just keep trying, changing claim language until you end up with prediction results that you're more satisfied with and you think, puts you in a good position to get good outcomes for your client. So that is it for our Art Unit Predictor tool. If you want to give it a try, PatentBots has a 2-week free trial. So you can go ahead and log into PatentBots and start your trial. Thank you very much.